They say the mating altar is where destinies align, where the moon goddess herself blesses unions that will shape kingdoms. They lied. I stood on the sacred platform in Seoul's Grand Royal Hall, surrounded by 1,000 witnesses, and felt my world crack open like glass beneath a hammer. Three Alpha Kings, Kang Minho, Park Dae-hyun, and Choi Ye-jun, stood before me in ceremonial robes of crimson and gold, their faces carved from stone. The bond-binding silk wrapped around our joined hands felt like a noose. My name is Jiwoo, 23 years old, born Omega in a world that worships alphas, and exactly 8 weeks pregnant with twins I hadn't told a single soul about. The ceremony master's voice echoed through the hall, ancient words in a language I barely understood. But I didn't need translation to know what came next. The three kings were supposed to accept me as their treaty Omega, the bridge between their fractured kingdoms. Political marriage, strategic alliance, my body as the price of peace. Except I could hear what they were thinking. That's my gift, my curse, my secret weapon that nobody knew existed. Telepathy. And right now their thoughts were screaming. An Omega? This pathetic thing? Minho's mental voice was ice. The council must be joking. He smells wrong, weak, defective. That was Dae-hyun, his handsome face showing nothing while his mind recoiled. I can't do this. I can't chain myself to... Ye-jun's thoughts cut off abruptly, like he'd slammed a door. I kept my face neutral, submissive, the perfect Omega bride everyone expected. But inside, my wolf was snarling, and my telepathy was picking up every poisonous thought radiating from the three men who were supposed to claim me. The silk tightened around our wrists. The moment of acceptance approached. That's when I felt it, the flutter in my belly. Barely there. Impossible to detect unless you knew what to look for. My hand moved instinctively to my stomach, hidden beneath layers of ceremonial robes. 8 weeks, twins, alpha-born, if the healer's whispered prediction was right, and I had no idea which of these three kings was the father. See, there had been before to this ceremony, a month ago during the treaty negotiations. Late nights, diplomatic tensions that spilled into something that definitely wasn't diplomatic. I'd been offered to all three as a gesture of goodwill, traditional Omega hospitality, they called it. I called it being passed around like expensive wine, but one of them had been different, gentle, had whispered my name like it mattered. I just couldn't remember which one. The nights blurred together, and they'd all smelled so similar beneath the alpha pheromones in political posturing. Now I was paying for it. Do you, Kang Minho, Park Dae-hyun, and Choi Ye-jun accept this Omega as bondmate and treaty seal? The ceremony master's voice cut through my spiraling thoughts. Silence, 1 second, 2, 3. The hall held its breath. Say it, I thought desperately, pushing the telepathic suggestion toward them. Just say the damn words and we can all go home. But my telepathy had always been passive. I could hear, not control. The thoughts crashed back at me like a wave. I won't be tied to weakness. The kingdoms will think we're desperate. He's already broken. Look at him. Minho moved first. He unwound the ceremonial silk from his wrist with deliberate slowness, his silver eyes finally meeting mine. Up close, he was devastating. Sharp jaw, perfect features, power radiating from every pore, and completely, utterly cold. I reject this bond, he said. His voice carried across the hall like a death sentence. Gasps rippled through the crowd. My wolf whimpered. The twins, oh God, the twins. Dae-hyun stepped back next, his expression almost apologetic. Almost. The treaty was negotiated in bad faith. I cannot accept. 2 down, I turned to Ye-jun, the youngest of the three kings, 26 to Minho's 32 and Dae-hyun's 29. His dark eyes held something the others didn't. Conflict. Actual, genuine conflict. I'm sorry, his thoughts whispered. I'm so damn sorry. But I can't. They'll destroy me if I reject this bond, Ye-jun said, and his voice cracked just slightly on the last word. The silk fell from my wrists. The crowd erupted. Shouts, accusations. The royal council surging forward, demanding explanations. but I couldn't hear any of it over the roaring in my ears. 3 rejections, public humiliation, treaty broken, and I was pregnant with their heirs. The bond sickness hit like a sledgehammer. Rejecting a bond that was never fully formed shouldn't hurt this bad, but I'd been close. So close. My wolf had recognized them, even if they hadn't recognized me as anything worth keeping. I stumbled backward, my hand clutching my stomach. Nobody noticed. They were too busy watching the 3 kings argue with the council, voices raised, politics exploding in real time. That's when I felt it. The second flutter. Stronger this time. The twins reminding me they existed, reminding me I had exactly 0 time to fall apart. I turned and walked off the altar. Nobody stopped me. Nobody even looked. My mind was already racing. I had maybe an hour before they realized what I was carrying, before some royal healer ran a test, or some court gossip noticed the way I touched my stomach, or worse, before one of the kings caught my scent and realized it had changed. Pregnant omegas smelled different, sweeter, more there. I'd been masking it with suppressants, but those were wearing off. "Run!" my wolf urged. "Run now!" For once, I agreed with her. I slipped through the side entrance of the grand hall, past confused servants and shocked nobles. My ceremonial robes were too elaborate, too noticeable. I ducked into a storage room, ripped off the outer layers, and emerged in just the plain silk underlayer. Still formal, still expensive, but less runaway Omega bride. My telepathy reached out, scanning for nearby thoughts. Disgraceful, all 3 of them. Treaty is dead. What happens now? Omega probably planned this, wanted attention. I gritted my teeth and pushed deeper, searching for the one person I needed. There, Seo Jinwan, healer, friend, the only person in this entire palace who'd ever looked at me like I was a person instead of a political tool. His thoughts were frantic. Jiwoo's in danger. Have to find him. Have to. I didn't wait. I ran. The palace corridors blurred past me. My silk underlayer clung to my skin, damp with sweat. Every heartbeat hammered against my ribs like it was trying to escape before I could. Left, down the servants' hall, past the kitchens. Jinwan's thoughts guided me like a compass, even though I couldn't see him yet. Telepathy had perks when you were running for your life. My bare feet slapped against cold marble. Somewhere behind me, voices echoed, shouting. The ceremony had dissolved into chaos, which meant I had maybe 5 minutes before someone noticed the rejected Omega had vanished. I skidded around a corner and nearly collided with a servant carrying linens. She yelped. I caught the stack before it fell, flashed her my best nothing to see here smile, and kept moving. "Sorry, late for, crying in private." Her confused thoughts followed me down the hall. Was that the treaty Omega? Why is he? I shut her out. Focusing on too many minds at once gave me splitting headaches, and I needed every brain cell I had left. The twins chose that moment to remind me they existed. A wave of nausea rolled through my stomach. I pressed one hand against the wall, breathing through my nose. Not now. Please, not now. Morning sickness was a lie. It happened whenever it damn well pleased, and right now it pleased to make me want to throw up the ceremonial breakfast I'd barely touched 6 hours ago. I forced myself forward. The servants' wing opened into a narrow stairwell that led down to the lower levels. Storage, maintenance, the parts of the palace where Omegas like me actually lived, when we weren't being paraded around like decorative objects. Jinwan's thoughts got louder, closer. Second sub-level, storage room C. Please let him find me. Please. I took the stairs 2 at a time, which was stupid because I was pregnant and wearing ceremonial silk and approximately 3 seconds from passing out. But stopping meant getting caught, and getting caught meant they'd find out about the twins. And that couldn't happen. Not yet. Maybe not ever. The second sub-level smelled like dust and old fabric. Dim lights flickered overhead. I found storage room C by the battered sign hanging crooked on the door. I shoved it open. Jinwan looked up, from where he'd been pacing. His healer's robes were disheveled, his dark hair a mess. Relief flooded his face. "Jiwoo, thank the goddess." He crossed the small room in 2 strides and grabbed my shoulders. His thoughts were a tangle of worry and fear, and something that felt like protectiveness. Are you hurt? Did they? They rejected me. The words came out flatter than I meant. All three, in front of everyone. His hands tightened. I heard. The whole palace heard. His eyes searched my face. But you're not surprised. I heard them thinking it. I pulled away gently and pressed my back against the door. My legs were shaking. Before they said it out loud, their thoughts were not kind. Jinwon knew about my telepathy. He was the only one. I'd accidentally read his mind during a healing session 2 years ago and blurted out his secret crush on one of the royal guards. He'd been horrified. I'd been mortified. We'd bonded over mutual blackmail material and somehow became actual friends. Jiwoo, his voice dropped. You're sent. It's different. My stomach dropped with it. I know. How long? 8 weeks. I met his eyes. Twins. Alpha-born, you said, when you examined me last month. He'd been the one I'd gone to when I'd first suspected. The only person I could trust with a secret that could get me killed. You need to leave Seoul. Jinhwan moved to a storage chest and started pulling out clothes. Plain traveling robes. Nothing that screamed runaway Omega. Tonight, right now, before they realize that I'm carrying royal heirs? I laughed and it sounded slightly unhinged. Yeah, that would be bad. He turned back to me, holding out the clothes. Do you know which one? Which one what? Rejected me hardest? I grabbed the robes and started changing. The ceremonial silk pooled at my feet. Which one is the father? I froze with my arms halfway through the sleeves. That was the question, wasn't it? The one I'd been avoiding for 8 weeks. During the treaty negotiations, I'd been with all three of them at different times. Political necessity, they'd called it. Omega hospitality. Show them we're serious about the alliance. I remembered touches in the dark, whispered words I'd tried to forget. The way one of them had kissed my temple after and told me I was brave. But faces blurred. Scents overlapped. They'd all been alphas, and I'd been drugged on suppressants to keep from bonding accidentally. I don't know, I admitted. The robes settled around me, rough fabric against skin used to silk. Could be any of them. Jinwan's expression did something complicated. Sympathy mixed with horror, mixed with the grim determination of someone making terrible calculations. Then you definitely need to run. If they find out, if they test the twins' bloodline, there's going to be a war. Over custody. 3 kingdoms fighting over heirs? He shook his head. You'll be ripped apart in the middle. Literally or figuratively? Both. A sound echoed from the stairwell. Footsteps, multiple sets. We both froze. Check the lower levels. Omega couldn't have gotten far. King Minho wants him found immediately. Guards. And they were close. Jinwan grabbed my wrist and pulled me toward the back of the storage room. There was a ventilation grate set low in the wall, barely visible behind stacked crates. Maintenance tunnel, he whispered, leads to the outer courtyard. From there, you can reach the eastern gate. And then what? I just walk out of the palace? They'll stop me at the gate. Not if you're not you. He pressed something into my hand. A small vial of clear liquid. Scent blocker, military grade. It'll mask everything, including the pregnancy, for about 6 hours. Long enough to get out of Seoul. The footsteps were getting closer. I looked at the vial, then at Jinwan. Come with me. I can't. If I disappear too, they'll know I helped you. His smile was sad. Besides, someone needs to stay and misdirect. I'm very good at lying when properly motivated. This level, search everything. No more time. I hugged him quickly, fiercely. His thoughts pressed against mine. Worry, fear, love like a brother's. And underneath it all, hope that I'd make it out alive. Thank you, I whispered against his shoulder. Go to Busan, he whispered back. Find Young Hanol. Underground network. Tell him I sent you. He'll keep you safe. The door handle rattled. Jinwan shoved me toward the grate. I dropped to my knees and yanked it open. The tunnel beyond was dark and smelled like rust and old air. Perfect. I crawled inside, pulling the grate shut behind me just as the storage room door burst open. Through the metal slats, I watched guards flood the room. 4 of them. Big. Armed. Their thoughts were disciplined. Focused. Clear. No Omega here. Check behind the crates. Jinwan stepped into their line of sight, adjusting his healer's robes like he'd been organizing supplies. "Can I help you, gentlemen? I'm trying to inventory bandages." One guard narrowed his eyes. "Have you seen the Omega? Han Jiwoo, the rejected one?" Jinwan's performance was flawless, slightly confused, mildly concerned, completely innocent. "I saw him head toward the upper gardens about 10 minutes ago. Looked upset. Poor thing." The guards exchanged looks. Their leader nodded. "Upper gardens. Move!" They left in a rush of boots and barked orders. Jinwan waited until their footsteps faded. Then he glanced at the grate and mouthed two words. "Run. Now." I ran. The maintenance tunnel was narrow, dark, and absolutely disgusting. I crawled on hands and knees through what I desperately hoped was just dirt and not something worse. The vial of scent blocker bumped against my chest where I tucked it into my robes. My telepathy reached ahead, scanning for mines in my path. Empty, clear. The tunnels were abandoned. After what felt like hours but was probably 10 minutes, I saw light. A grate leading outside. I pushed it open and tumbled out into the palace's eastern courtyard. Night had fallen. The moons, both of them, hung fat and bright overhead. Around me, manicured gardens stretched toward the outer walls. In the distance, I could see the eastern gate and the guards stationed there. I pulled out the scent blocker and drank half the vial. It tasted like battery acid and burned going down. But immediately, I felt my scent flatten, disappear. Even my omega instincts went quiet. The twins fluttered again, stronger, like they were protesting. "I know," I whispered to my stomach. "I know this is terrible, but we're going to make it, I promise." I straightened my robes, adopted the posture of a low-level servant heading home after a long shift, and walked toward the eastern gate. The guards barely glanced at me. Without my scent, I was nobody. Just another body leaving the palace after the ceremony disaster. I walked through the gate and into Seoul streets. Behind me, the palace rose like a fortress of light and power and everything I was leaving behind. Ahead, the city sprawled dark and endless and full of places to hide. I touched my stomach gently. "You and me," I whispered. "We're going to be okay." I almost believed it. The city swallowed me whole. Seoul's streets twisted like a maze after dark. Neon signs flickered overhead in Korean and English, advertising everything from street food to fortune tellers. The crowds were thick despite the late hour, bodies pressed close, scents overlapping until my telepathy couldn't pick one mind from another. Good. That meant I was invisible. I kept my head down and walked. My bare feet were bleeding by now, the rough pavement tearing through skin that had only ever known palace floors. Each step sent sharp pain up my legs, but I didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Behind me, I felt the palace like a weight on my spine. Any second, alarms would sound. Guards would flood the streets. The three kings would realize their rejected Omega had vanished. And even if they didn't want me, their pride wouldn't tolerate the insult. Keep moving. I ducked into a narrow alley between two buildings and finally let myself breathe. My hands were shaking. The scent blocker was working, but I could feel it wearing thin at the edges. Maybe 4 hours left, maybe less. Busan was a 4-hour train ride south. I had no money, no identification, nothing except the clothes Jinwan had given me and a vial of temporary invisibility. Perfect, just perfect. A sound made me freeze. Footsteps at the alley entrance. I pressed against the wall and reached out with my telepathy. Hungry, so hungry. Maybe someone left food in the bins. Just a kid. Street orphan, probably, judging by the desperate edge to his thoughts. I relaxed slightly. He couldn't have been more than 12. Skinny, dirty. He spotted me and stopped, eyes going wide. "You're bleeding," he said in Korean. His dialect was rough, lower class. "Your feet." I glanced down. Yeah, bloody footprints trailed behind me like a crime scene. "I'm fine," I said. "Just had a bad night." His nose twitched. Even without my omega scent, he could probably smell the blood. "You running from someone?" Smart kid. "Maybe." He studied me for a long moment. His thoughts were cautious but not afraid. "Fancy robes, palace servant? But why run? Unless I'll give you these robes, I said suddenly, if you tell me how to get to the train station without being seen. His eyes lit up. The robes were plain by palace standards, but probably worth a month's meals on the street. Deal, but you'll need shoes. He darted deeper into the alley and came back with a pair of worn sneakers that had seen better days. Found these last week. Too big for me. Take them. I stared at him. Why help me? He shrugged. You've got that look, like the world just kicked you in the teeth and you're trying to figure out if you're going to cry or bite back. His grin was missing a tooth. I like biters. I almost laughed. Almost. I took the shoes and pulled off the outer robe, leaving me in just the thin inner layer. The kid snatched the fabric like I might change my mind. Train station is 3 blocks east, he said, already backing away. But they check IDs after midnight. You'll need to sneak onto a cargo car. Platform 7. Southbound trains every hour. Thank you. He was already gone, melting into the shadows like he'd never existed. I put on the shoes. They were too big, but better than bare feet. Then I started walking east. The train station rose out of Seoul's urban sprawl like a beast of glass and steel. Inside it was chaos. People everywhere. Commuters heading home. Tourists lost and confused. And security guards stationed at every entrance, checking IDs and tickets. I circled the building twice, my telepathy scanning for weak points. Shift ends in 20 minutes. Can't wait to get home. This job is so boring. Nobody ever tries anything. Platform 7. Need to check the cargo manifest before the southbound. There. Platform 7. Cargo loading zone. I waited until the guard's attention wandered, then slipped through a service entrance marked Authorized Personnel Only. My heart hammered loud enough I was sure someone would hear it. The platform was dimly lit. Massive cargo containers sat waiting to be loaded onto the next train. I could hear the rumble of an approaching engine. I ducked behind a container and waited. The train pulled in with a screech of metal. Workers in orange vests started loading cargo with practiced efficiency. Their thoughts were focused, mechanical. Nobody noticed the scrawny Omega hiding in the shadows. I spotted an open container, already half full of crates. Perfect. When the workers turned away, I ran, climbed inside, wedged myself between 2 large boxes that smelled like machinery and oil. The twins kicked, hard. Shh, I whispered to my stomach. I know this is uncomfortable. Just a few more hours. The container door slammed shut. Darkness swallowed me whole. I heard locks engaging. Then the container lurched as it was loaded onto the train. My stomach flipped. The nausea came back with a vengeance. Don't throw up. Don't throw up. If you throw up in here, you'll have to smell it for 4 hours. I focused on breathing, in through my nose, out through my mouth. The twins settled slightly, as if they could feel my distress. The train lurched forward, started moving. I was really doing this, really running, really about to show up in Busan with nothing except a half-empty vial of scent blocker and a lot of bad decisions. My telepathy drifted, searching for familiar minds. Jinwon was too far now, but I caught fragments from the palace. Chaos. Anger. The Omega is gone! King Minho is furious! Search every district! I shut them out before the headache started. 4 hours. I just had to survive 4 hours in a dark container, pregnant with twins, running from 3 alpha kings who probably wanted me dead. This is fine, I muttered to the darkness. Everything is fine. The twins kicked again, like they were calling me a liar. The container door opened to blinding sunlight. I squinted against the glare, my body stiff from being cramped in one position for hours. Voices shouted in Korean, workers, Busan dock workers, from the accent. I waited until they moved away, then climbed out as quietly as possible. My legs nearly buckled. The scent blocker was definitely wearing off now. I could feel my Omega scent starting to leak through. Busan's port stretched around me, massive and industrial. Ships, containers, the smell of salt water and fish and diesel fuel. I had no idea where I was going. Jung Hanol, underground network. Find him. But how? I couldn't exactly walk up to random people and ask for directions to the illegal Omega sanctuary. My telepathy reached out, scanning the workers nearby. Long shift. Need coffee? Shipment manifest is wrong again. Hanul's place tonight. Heard there's a new runaway. I froze, locked onto that last thought. A worker in his 30s, scarred hands, kind eyes. His thoughts were layered with sympathy for whoever the new runaway was. I approached carefully. Excuse me. He looked up from his clipboard. His nose twitched. Even through the fading scent, blocker, he could tell I was Omega. You lost? He asked, not unkind. Looking for someone? Young Hanul. His expression didn't change, but his thoughts exploded. Palace scent, expensive robes under that dirt. Omega? Pregnant? Goddess, what happened to him? Out loud, he said. Never heard of him. Seo Jinwan sent me. The name was a key. I felt it in his thoughts. Recognition. Trust. He glanced around, making sure no one was listening. Follow me. Don't talk. Don't look anyone in the eye. He led me away from the main port area, into the industrial district beyond. Warehouses, abandoned buildings. The kind of place authorities didn't bother patrolling. We stopped at a nondescript door. He knocked. 3 times, paused, twice. The door opened. A man stood there. Older, 50s, gray threading through his black hair. His eyes were sharp, assessing. This was someone who'd seen everything and stopped being surprised years ago. Young Hanul? I asked. Depends who's asking. Jin Huan sent me. I need help. Hanul's gaze traveled down to my stomach. His expression didn't change, but I felt his thoughts shift. Pregnant, running, palace scent. Oh, this is going to be complicated. He stepped aside. Get inside, quickly. I didn't need to be told twice. The door shut behind me, and I finally let myself collapse against the wall. My legs gave out. I slid down to sitting, my whole body shaking. Hanul crouched in front of me. You're safe here. Whatever you're running from, they can't reach you in my territory. 3 Alpha Kings, I said. My voice cracked. I'm running from 3 Alpha Kings, and I'm carrying their heirs, and I don't know which one is the father. And they rejected me at the mating altar in front of the entire royal court. And, breathe, Hanul interrupted. Breathe first, panic second. I laughed. It came out slightly hysterical. You've got spirit, he said. That's good. You'll need it. He helped me up and led me deeper into the building. It was bigger than it looked from outside. Rooms, beds, other Omegas, I realized. A whole network. Welcome to the underground, Hanul said. You're home now. Home felt like a lie, but I was too tired to argue. Hanul led me through a maze of corridors that smelled like old concrete and something cooking. Soup, maybe. My stomach growled loud enough that he glanced back with an amused look. When's the last time you ate? I had to think about it. Ceremonial breakfast, 6 hours ago? 8? Time had gone elastic since the rejection. Kitchen's this way. The underground was bigger than I'd imagined. What looked like an abandoned warehouse from outside was actually a warren of converted spaces. Sleeping quarters, a medical bay, common areas where Omegas sat talking in low voices. Some looked up as we passed. Their thoughts brushed against mine, curious but not hostile. New one? He looks rough. Pregnant. Poor thing. I kept my telepathy tight, not wanting to intrude more than I already was, just by existing in their space. The kitchen was small but clean. Hanul pointed to a chair. Sit, don't move. I sat. My body was making executive decisions now, and apparently stay vertical wasn't a priority anymore. He moved around the kitchen with practiced ease, heating soup, cutting bread. Within minutes, he placed a bowl in front of me. The smell hit my nose and my mouth watered so fast I almost drooled. Eat slowly, he warned. You'll make yourself sick. I didn't listen. The first spoonful burned my tongue, but I didn't care. The second went down easier. By the third, the twins were doing what felt like a happy dance in my belly. Hanul sat across from me, watching with the patience of someone who'd seen this exact scene 100 times before. So, he said when I'd eaten half the bowl, 3 Alpha Kings. I swallowed. Yeah. Which 3? Kang Minho, Park Dae-hyun, Choi Ye-jun. He let out a long breath. You don't do anything small, do you? Apparently not. I tore off a piece of bread. In my defense, I didn't plan to get rejected at the altar, or pregnant, or any of this. How far along? 8 weeks. Twins. I touched my stomach without thinking. Alpha born, according to Jinwon. Hanul's eyebrows rose. Jinwon. The palace healer, Jinwon. You know him. We've moved omegas through similar channels before. He's helped more than he probably should. Hanel leaned back in his chair. Does he know about the telepathy? I froze with the spoon halfway to my mouth. Hanel's expression didn't change. I've been doing this for 20 years, kid. I can spot a psychic omega from across a room. The way your eyes unfocus when you're listening to thoughts? Dead giveaway. My heart was suddenly pounding. Are you going to tell anyone? Who would I tell? The king's hunting you? He snorted. Relax. Your secret's safe. Though I'm curious how you've hidden it this long. I set down the spoon. Practice. Lots of practice. I paused. And fear. Fear works. His thoughts were gentle, sympathetic. He'd seen too many omegas broken by secrets they couldn't share. The palace doesn't know? No one knows except Jinwan. And now you. I met his eyes. I heard them. The king's. Before they rejected me, their thoughts were not kind. Alphas rarely are when it comes to omegas they see as beneath them. Hanel's voice hardened. Which is why places like this exist. I finished the soup in silence. The food helped. My body stopped screaming quite so loud. The twins settled into what felt like contentment. I need to ask you something, I said finally, and I need you to be honest. Go ahead. Can I actually hide here? 3 alpha kings with unlimited resources, royal guards, political power? I looked around the kitchen. How long before they find me? Hanul was quiet for a long moment. His thoughts were calculating, weighing options I couldn't quite parse. Honestly, if they want you badly enough, they'll find you eventually. He held up a hand before I could panic. But that's only if they're actively looking. Right now, they're probably more concerned with saving face. A rejected omega running away? That's embarrassing for them, not you. But if they find out about the twins, then everything changes. Royal heirs are a different game entirely. He stood and collected my empty bowl, which is why we're going to make sure they don't find out. At least not until those babies are born and you've decided what you want to do. What I want to do, I repeated. What are my options? Hide forever? Raise royal heirs in an underground bunker? Some omegas do exactly that. Hanul rinsed the bowl. Others decide to negotiate. Use the children as leverage for a better life. And some, he trailed off. Some what? Some decide the fathers don't deserve to know at all. The words hung in the air between us. I'd been so focused on running, on surviving, that I hadn't actually thought about the endgame. What happened after the twins were born? Did I tell the kings? Did I raise the children alone? Could I even do that? My telepathy reached out without meaning to, searching for Jinwan back in Seoul. Too far. I couldn't sense him anymore. The distance felt like a physical ache. You're thinking too much, Hanel said. I can see it in your face. I'm good at overthinking. Most omegas are. It's a survival trait. He dried his hands on a towel. Here's what we're going to do. First, you're going to sleep. Real sleep in a real bed. Second, we're getting you looked at by our healer. Make sure you and the twins are healthy after that insane escape. Third, we figure out long-term plans. In that order? In exactly that order. He led me out of the kitchen and down another corridor. The sleeping quarters were simple. Small rooms with beds, blankets, basic furniture. He stopped at an empty one. Yours for as long as you need it. I stepped inside. The bed looked like heaven. My body was already moving toward it. Hanul, I said, turning back. Why do you do this? Run the underground. Help omegas like me. His expression went distant, sad. Because someone should have helped me when I needed it. And they didn't. He met my eyes. Sleep. We'll talk more when you're not dead on your feet. He closed the door. I collapsed onto the bed fully clothed and was asleep before my head hit the pillow. When I woke to the twins kicking for a moment, I didn't remember where I was. The ceiling was unfamiliar, the walls too close. Then it all came rushing back. The rejection, the escape, Busan. I was safe, relatively. My telepathy stretched out automatically, scanning nearby minds. Habit. The underground was full of thoughts, overlapping and gentle. Omegas going about their day. Hanul in his office thinking about supply runs. Someone cooking breakfast. And something else. Something sharper. I sat up slowly. My body ached everywhere, muscles screaming from yesterday's marathon of terrible decisions. But the feeling wouldn't go away. Someone was looking for me. I focused harder, pushing my telepathy out further than I normally dared. The headache started immediately, sharp pain behind my eyes, but I caught it. Fragments of thoughts from Seoul, hundreds of miles away. The Omega hasn't been found. King Daehyun personally leading the search, offering a reward for information. My blood went cold. Daehyun, the conflicted one, the one whose thoughts had held the most doubt during the rejection. Why would he be searching for me? The twins kicked harder, like they could sense my fear. It's okay, I whispered to my stomach. We're safe here. He can't find us. Except telepathy worked both ways, didn't it? If I could hear thoughts from Seoul, could powerful alphas sense me back? I'd always assumed my gift was one-directional, passive. But what if I was wrong? What if every time I reached out with my mind, I was leaving a trail? The door opened. I jumped. Hanul stood there, carrying clothes and what looked like medical supplies. Good. You're awake. Our healer wants to see you. Hanul! My voice came out tight. Can alphas track telepaths? If someone was searching for me with their instincts, could they sense when I use my ability? He paused. I don't know. Why? Because I just felt Daehyun's thoughts, from Seoul, and now I'm wondering if that was really stupid. His expression darkened. How often have you been scanning for them? A few times since I got here. Stop. Immediately. He set down the supplies. If there's even a chance they can sense you reaching out, you're painting a target on your back. So I just go blind? Don't use the one advantage I have? Your advantage is staying hidden, not reaching out to the very people hunting you. He softened slightly. I know it's hard, but you need to trust the physical walls around you, not the psychic ones. He was right. I knew he was right. I just hated being cut off from the one thing that had always kept me safe. Come on, Hanul said. Healer's waiting, and we need to figure out exactly how far along you are. If those twins decide to come early, I want to be prepared. I stood carefully, my hand on my stomach. 8 weeks, maybe 9 now. 7 more months of hiding. 7 more. Months of wondering which king had fathered my children. 7 more months of hoping they never found me. Let's go, I said. The healer's room smelled like herbs and something astringent that made my nose wrinkle. A beta in his 40s looked up from organizing medical supplies. His name tag read Dr. Kang in neat Korean characters. No relation to King Minho, I hoped. That would be the universe's idea of a hilarious joke. Han Jiwoo. His voice was gentle, professional. That's me. I sat on the examination table, the paper crinkling under me, though at this point I'm open to changing my name and starting over. He smiled slightly. Hanul mentioned you have a sense of humor. Good, you'll need it. That's what everyone keeps saying. I'm starting to think my life is a comedy and no one told me. Dr. Kang washed his hands and pulled on gloves. I'm going to do a basic exam. Check your vitals, the twins' development, make sure the pregnancy is progressing normally. Is this your first pregnancy or first time being rejected by 3 kings at once? I lay back on the table, because the answer to both is yes. Fair enough. He placed his hands on my stomach, gentle but firm. His touch carried that particular warmth that healers had, magic threading through fingertips. How's the nausea? Comes and goes, usually at the worst possible moments, like when I'm hiding in a cargo container or running for my life. Try to avoid those situations going forward. I'll make a note. The twins kicked against his hands. Dr. Kang's eyebrows rose. Strong, very strong for 8 weeks. He moved his hands lower, pressing carefully. Actually, I'd say closer to 9 weeks now, maybe 10. My stomach dropped. 10 weeks? But I only... The math clicked into place. 10 weeks ago was before the treaty negotiations, before I'd been with any of the kings. That's impossible, I said. I wasn't with anyone 10 weeks ago. The only time I was ever with anyone was during the negotiations, and that was only 8 weeks back. Dr. Kang's expression went carefully neutral. Jiwoo, how much do you actually know about your family history? Excuse me? Your bloodline, your parents, where you came from. I sat up slowly. I was told my parents died when I was young, some minor Omega family with no status. I was raised in the palace orphanage, trained as a servant. The words tasted bitter. Why? He hesitated, then walked to a cabinet and pulled out what looked like a blood testing kit. I need to check something. May I? You're scaring me. That's not my intention, but there are anomalies in your scent. Things that don't add up for a standard Omega pregnancy. He pricked my finger. I watched blood well up and get absorbed into the testing strip. Dr. Kang held it up to the light. Comparing it against a chart I couldn't read from this angle, his expression changed. Shock. Then something that looked like disbelief. What? I demanded. What is it? You're not lowborn, he said quietly. Your bloodline markers are Jiwoo. You're carrying royal Omega genetics. High caste. Possibly one of the oldest bloodlines in Korea. The room tilted sideways. That's impossible. I would have known. Someone would have told me. Someone went to great lengths to make sure you didn't know. Dr. Kang set down the test strip. This level of genetic suppression doesn't happen naturally. You were given blockers, probably from childhood, something to mask your true nature. My telepathy flared without warning, reaching back through my memories. Fragments I'd never questioned before. The palace officials who'd always watched me too closely. The way I'd been kept separate from other Omega children. The suppressants I'd been told were for health reasons. They knew, I whispered. The palace knew what I was and they hid it. The question is why? Dr. Kang met my eyes. Royal Omegas are rare, valuable. If someone went through the trouble to suppress your bloodline and hide you in plain sight, they had a reason. The twins kicked hard, almost violently, and suddenly I understood. The mating ceremony, I said, my voice shaking. They didn't reject me because I was too weak. They rejected me because someone made sure they'd see me as weak. Someone who didn't want the kings bonding with actual royal blood. That would be my guess. But who? And why hide me in the first place? If I'm royal Omega bloodline, shouldn't I have been? I trailed off as another piece clicked into place. Unless someone wanted to get rid of me and couldn't do it directly. Dr. Kang said nothing, but his thoughts were loud enough. Political assassination, family rivalry. It's always the same story with royalty. I pressed my hands to my stomach. The twins. If I'm royal bloodline, and the father is one of 3 alpha kings, your children aren't just heirs, they're dynasty changers. Dr. Kang's voice was grave. If the wrong people find out, they'll either kill you to prevent the birth or take the children the moment they're born. Fantastic. Great. Love that for me. I stood up, my legs shaking. The room was too small, too close. I needed air. Jiwoo, wait. I need a minute. I headed for the door. Or several minutes, maybe a whole day of minutes. Hanul was waiting in the corridor. One look at my face and his expression hardened. What happened? Turns out I'm not who I thought I was. I laughed and it sounded slightly unhinged. Royal bloodline. Hidden. Suppressed. The whole time I thought I was nothing. I was actually something someone wanted to erase. Hanul exchanged a look with Dr. Kang over my shoulder. This changes things, Hanul said. You think? I started pacing. Because from where I'm standing, it makes everything worse. Now I'm not just a rejected Omega on the run. I'm a political target carrying twins that could shift the entire power balance in Korea. We need to contact someone, Hanul said. Someone who can help you figure out who hid you and why. Who? The kings who rejected me, the palace that's hunting me, my imaginary royal family who apparently abandoned me to be a servant? The telepathy surged again, this time without my permission. Pain spiked through my skull as my mind reached out, searching for answers in the psychic noise of the city. And I found something. A mind I recognized. Close. Too close. Park Dae-hyun. He was in Busan. They're here, I gasped, gripping the wall. The kings. At least one of them. Dae-hyun. He's... I focused harder, ignoring the headache blooming behind my eyes. The Omega was spotted in this district. Multiple witnesses. Search every building. He's 3 blocks away. Hanul moved immediately. Get to the safe room. Now. Dr. Kang. Lockdown protocol. Wait. I grabbed Hanul's arm. I can hear his thoughts. He's not just searching randomly. Someone told him I'm here. Someone gave him information. Who? I pushed deeper into Dae-hyun's mind, past the surface thoughts, looking for the source. And I found it. A memory from an hour ago. A conversation with someone whose face I couldn't see, but whose voice made my blood run cold. The Omega is in the underground. Young Hanul's territory. He's pregnant with royal heirs. You want him? Go now. Someone betrayed us, I said. Someone who knows about the twins, about my bloodline. Someone who wants the kings to find me. Hanul's face went pale. That's impossible. Only 3 people in Busan know you're here. Me, Dr. Kang, and... He stopped. I finished for him. And whoever you told to get me into the sanctuary. I only told one person. Someone I've trusted for years. Well, they just sold me out. The sound of boots echoed from somewhere above us. Multiple sets, moving with military precision. The twins kicked frantically, like they could sense the danger. Hanul grabbed my wrist. Safe room. Now, I'll handle this. They're here for me. If I hide, they'll tear this place apart looking. If you don't hide, they'll take you and the twins. I pulled away from his grip. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Jiwoo, no. Listen to me. I met his eyes. I can hear Dae-hyun's thoughts. I can sense his intentions. He's conflicted, guilty. He doesn't want to hurt me, but he will if he has to, because duty matters more than a rejected Omega. So maybe I can use that. I touched my stomach. He doesn't know about royal bloodline yet. He just thinks I'm carrying potential heirs. If I can get close enough, I can read his mind. Figure out what he really wants. Maybe even find out who sent that message. That's insane. I know. I smiled and it felt wild, reckless. But I'm getting really good at insane. The footsteps were closer now, just outside the building. Hanul stared at me for a long moment. Then he nodded once. If this goes wrong, it won't. If it does, Dr. Kang gets you out. Underground tunnels, emergency exit. You run and you don't look back. Deal. I walked toward the main entrance of the sanctuary, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. Behind me, Hanul and Dr. Kang moved into position, ready to extract me if this all went sideways. The door burst open. Park Dae-hyun stood framed in the doorway, backlit by Busan sunlight. He looked different than I remembered. Older, tired. His dark eyes scanned the room until they found me. We stared at each other. I opened my telepathy completely, diving into his mind without hesitation. And what I found there made my breath catch. Guilt. Overwhelming, crushing guilt. And something else. Something I hadn't expected. Regret. His regret tasted like ash in my mind. I should have stopped them. Should have said something, anything. Dae-hyun took a step inside. His guards flanked him, hands on weapons, but he raised one hand to stop them from advancing further. Jiwoo. His voice was rougher than I remembered, less polished. I'm not here to hurt you. Just here to drag me back to Seoul? I kept my telepathy locked on his thoughts, waiting for the lie. Return the runaway Omega to his rightful place? No. The word came out flat. Honest. His thoughts confirmed it. I came to apologize. That threw me. You came all the way to Busan to apologize? How thoughtful. Should I get you a card to sign? Behind me, I felt Hanul tense. Dr. Kang's thoughts were racing through escape routes. Dae-hyun's jaw tightened. I deserve that. I deserve worse. He glanced at his guards. Wait outside, all of you. Your Majesty, protocol? Outside now. They retreated, reluctant. The door closed, leaving just the 4 of us. Dae-hyun, me, Hanul, and Dr. Kang lurking in the corridor. I made a mistake at the altar, Dae-hyun said. His thoughts were bleeding shame. The worst mistake of my life. We all did, but I'm the only one who couldn't sleep afterward. The only one who kept seeing your face when you collapsed. Want a medal for having a conscience? I want you to know the truth. He took another step closer. I didn't back away, even though every instinct screamed at me to run. Minho was afraid. Political pressure, expectations, the weight of the crown. He convinced himself you were a liability. Yejun, Daehyun's expression flickered. Yejun wanted to say yes. I saw it in his eyes. But he's the youngest king, the weakest position. He couldn't afford to stand alone. And you? I was a coward. The words came out simple, brutal. I let them make the choice for me because it was easier than fighting. Easier than admitting that the bond felt right when it shouldn't have. My telepathy dug deeper, past the surface guilt. The Omega smelled like home, like safety, like everything I'd been missing. And I destroyed it because I was too afraid to want something real. The twins kicked, hard, like they recognized something in his voice. You felt the bond, I said slowly. Actually felt it. Not just the political connection. The real thing. Yes. His eyes met mine. Silver gray like storm clouds. All three of us did. That's why we panicked. That's why we rejected you. Because acknowledging it meant giving up control, and kings don't do that. So you broke my heart instead. Very kingly of you. Jiwoo, don't. I held up my hand. Don't try to make this better with pretty words and guilt. You stood at that altar and called me weak, defective. You let an entire royal court laugh at me while I bled from a shattered bond. I know. And now you show up here expecting what? Forgiveness? A second chance? Maybe a nice cup of tea while we discuss your feelings? His thoughts flinched. I don't deserve forgiveness. I know that. But I had to try. Why? I stepped closer. Why come all this way? Why track me down? If you felt so bad, you could have just lived with your guilt like a normal person. Daehyun's gaze dropped to my stomach. The room went very, very quiet. You knew, I whispered. You knew I was pregnant. I suspected. His voice was careful. Your scent at the ceremony. It was different. Sweeter. I dismissed it as stress. But afterward, when you vanished, I started piecing things together. Who else knows? Just me. I haven't told Minho or Yejun. I haven't told the council. His thoughts confirmed the truth. I came alone because if you're carrying heirs, you need protection, not politics. How noble. The king who rejected me now wants to play protector. I want to make things right. You can't. The words came out harder than I meant. What's broken doesn't just fix itself because you feel bad. The twins kicked again, harder, like they were trying to communicate something I couldn't understand. Daehyun's eyes tracked the movement. How far along? Why do you care? Because they're mine. The words hung in the air. Aren't they? I can smell it, underneath everything else. My bloodline. They're mine. My telepathy caught the desperate hope in his thoughts. Please let them be mine. Please let me have a chance to be better than I was. I don't know whose they are, I said honestly. Could be yours. Could be Minho's. Could be Yejun's. I was with all three of you during the negotiations, remember? Traditional Omega hospitality. The bitterness in my voice was sharp enough to cut. Funny how that works. You get to share an Omega like a toy, but the moment actual consequences appear, suddenly it's my fault. Daehyun flinched. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair. Hanol stepped forward. All right, enough. Daehyun, you've said your piece. Jiwoo doesn't owe you anything. Time to leave. I'm not leaving him here. Daehyun's alpha voice bled through. Not quite a command, but close. Whoever told me where to find him also told others. Minho's guards are maybe an hour behind me. Yejun's not far either. If I found you this easily, they will too. So what do you suggest? I crossed my arms. Go back to Seoul? Let you lock me up for my own protection? No. I'm suggesting you let me help you disappear properly. He pulled something from his pocket. A small flash drive. Everything on here. New identity. Bank accounts under a false name. Safe houses across Korea that aren't connected to any royal family. I've been planning this since the morning after the ceremony. I stared at the drive. You've been planning to help me run away? I've been planning to give you a choice. His thoughts were painfully sincere. I took your choice at the altar. The least I can do is give you one now. And what do you get out of this? Nothing. I don't want anything from you except the chance to prove I'm not the monster who hurt you. The twins kicked in unison, almost like they were voting. My telepathy pushed into Daehyun's mind one more time, searching for deception, for hidden motives, for anything that would confirm he was lying. All I found was guilt, regret, and underneath it all, something that looked dangerously like genuine care. There's something you need to know, I said. About me, about the twins. Daehyun waited. I'm not lowborn. Turns out someone suppressed my royal bloodline my entire life. Made me think I was nothing. These twins? I touched my stomach. They're not just potential heirs. They're dynasty changers. Royal Omega genetics mixed with Alpha King blood. Whatever kingdom gets to claim them controls the future. The color drained from Daehyun's face. His thoughts exploded. Royal bloodline, goddess above. This is so much worse than I thought. If Minho finds out, if the council finds out, they'll never let him go. Never let the children go. Out loud, he said, then we run, now, before anyone else gets here. We? I raised an eyebrow. I'm not leaving you to face this alone. You barely know me. I know I hurt you. I know you're carrying children that might be mine. And I know that if I walk away now, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. He held out the flash drive again. Please, let me help. I looked at Hanul. His thoughts were conflicted. Don't trust him, but also, maybe he's genuine, and Jiwoo needs allies. It's your choice, Hanul said out loud. I'll support whatever you decide. The twins kicked again. Persistent little things. I took the flash drive. If you betray me, I said to Daehyun, I will use my telepathy to make you wish you'd never been born. I will find every fear, every insecurity, every nightmare in your head, and I will destroy you with them. Understood? His eyes widened. You're telepathic? Surprise. Now answer the question. Understood. His thoughts were shocked, but also impressed. A psychic Royal Omega. No wonder someone tried to hide him. Good. I turned to Hanul. Thank you for everything. If Minho or Yejun shows up, I never saw you. Don't know where you went. Standard protocol. Hanul pulled me into a brief hug. Stay safe. Both of you. All four of you, I guess. I hugged him back, then followed Daehyun toward the door. His guards were waiting outside, confused. We're leaving, Daehyun told them. Back to the port. Quietly. Your Majesty, what about the Omega? Found him. Gave him resources to relocate safely. Our business here is done. The lie came so smoothly, I almost believed it myself. His guards didn't question it. We walked through Busan's industrial district. Daehyun kept me close but not touching. His thoughts were hyper-vigilant, scanning for threats. Need to get him somewhere safe, somewhere Minho can't reach, somewhere the council won't think to look. Where are we going? I asked quietly. Somewhere I should have taken you from the beginning. He glanced at me. Somewhere you can decide for yourself what happens next. The twins kicked their approval. Against all logic, against every survival instinct I had, I was trusting an Alpha King. This was either the smartest decision I'd ever made or the one that would get me killed. Time would tell which. The car ride was silent except for the twins doing gymnastics in my belly. Daehyun sat beside me in the back seat, close enough that I could smell his alpha scent. Pine and rain, and something darker I couldn't name. It should have been comforting, should have triggered whatever remained of that shattered bond. Instead, it just made me nervous. His thoughts were a constant hum of worry and planning. Get him to the safe house. Make sure he's protected. Figure out what to do about Minho and Yejun. Don't screw this up again. You're thinking very loudly, I said. He startled. Right, the telepathy. A pause. Can you turn it off? Can you stop breathing? Fair point. He shifted in his seat. Is it always this intrusive? Only when people are having loud thoughts near me. Most of the time, it's just background noise. Like a radio I can't turn down. I pressed my hand to my stomach as one of the twins kicked my ribs. These two seem to amplify it somehow. Since I got pregnant, the telepathy's gotten stronger. Is that normal? I have no idea. It's not like there's a manual for psychic pregnant omegas. The corner of his mouth twitched, almost a smile. You're different than I remember. Being rejected and hunted tends to change a person. I meant you're stronger, sharper. His thoughts added more. Beautiful. Was he always this beautiful, or did I just not notice? I felt my face heat and looked away. Stop that. Stop what? Thinking nice things about me. It's weird. I can't control what I think. Then think quieter. He actually laughed. The sound was surprised, rusty, like he hadn't done it in a while. The car slowed. We'd reached the port. Daehyun's private yacht waited at the dock, sleek and expensive. Of course he had a yacht. Why wouldn't he have a yacht? Where exactly are we going? I asked as we boarded. Jeju Island. I have a house there. Off the books. No staff, no guards. Just us. Just us. An alpha king and the omega he rejected. Alone on an island? What could possibly go wrong? If you'd rather I find you a hotel. No. The word came out too fast. I cleared my throat. No, it's fine. I'm just processing. His thoughts gentled. He's terrified, trying not to show it. Gods, what did I do to him? The yacht's engine rumbled to life. We pulled away from the dock just as a convoy of black cars screeched to a halt on the pier. Daehyun cursed. I reached out with my telepathy and immediately wished I hadn't. Kang Minho's thoughts hit like a sledgehammer. He's here. I can smell the omega. Daehyun, you traitorous bastard. That's Minho, I said. He knows you found me, and he's really, really angry. Daehyun pulled out his phone. How angry? Homicidal. The phone rang once. Minho's face filled the screen. Beautiful and cold and absolutely furious. Daehyun! The name came out like a curse. Where is he? I don't know what you're talking about. Don't play games with me. I can smell omega on you. Pregnant omega. You found him and you're hiding him. I crouched below the window, out of sight. My heart was trying to escape through my throat. I helped him relocate, Daehyun said calmly. Gave him resources. He's gone now. Far from here. You're lying. Believe what you want. Minho's silver eyes narrowed. If you're protecting him, you're committing treason. Hiding potential heirs from the crown is... He's not your property, Minho. We rejected him. Remember? Publicly. Brutally. We have no claim. The children are a different matter. What children? Daehyun's voice stayed level, but his thoughts were screaming. Play dumb. Don't confirm anything. Minho's expression went calculating. So you don't know. Interesting. Know what? That our little omega friend is carrying twins. Royal bloodline on both sides from what my sources tell me. Whoever gets custody controls the next generation of rulers. Minho smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. Still think you have no claim? The twins kicked in unison, like they knew they were being discussed. Daehyun's jaw tightened. My yacht is leaving Busan in 30 seconds. You're welcome to try to stop me, but that would be an act of war between our kingdoms. It won't be war if I'm just retrieving stolen property. He's not property. The children are. Minho's voice dropped to something dangerous. And I will have them, Daehyun, one way or another. The call ended. I stayed crouched, my whole body shaking. He knows, I whispered, about the royal bloodline, about the twins being dynasty changers. Someone told him everything. The same someone who told me where to find you. Daehyun's hands clenched. There's a leak. Someone who wants all three of us fighting over you. Why? Because distracted kings make mistakes, and mistakes create opportunities for other parties. The yacht picked up speed, putting distance between us and the port. I finally stood, my legs unsteady. That's when I felt it. A third presence pushing against my telepathy from miles away. Choi Ye-jun. His thoughts were different from the others. Softer, sadder. I should have stopped them at the altar. Should have said yes. Should have been brave enough to claim what my wolf recognized as ours. Now it's too late. Now he's running. And I don't blame him. Ye-jun knows too, I said. He's in Seoul still, but he knows I'm pregnant. Knows I'm with you. Daehyun moved to stand beside me at the railing. Can he track you? Through your telepathy? I don't think so. It's always been one-directional for me. I can hear them, but they can't hear me back. You sure about that? I wasn't, but admitting that felt like opening a door I couldn't close. The ocean stretched around us, dark and endless. Behind us, Busan's lights faded. Ahead, nothing but water and whatever waited on Jeju Island. This is insane, I said. Running away with you, trusting you, all of it. I know. You could be lying about everything. The safe house, the resources, all of it could be a trap. It could be. Daehyun's thoughts confirmed his words. But it's not. I swear it's not. Why should I believe you? He turned to face me fully. Because I felt the bond at the altar. Really felt it. And when I rejected you, it felt like tearing out my own heart. I've spent every moment since trying to convince myself it was the right choice, that you were weak, that the goddess made a mistake. And I was lying to myself. His hand moved hesitant before gently touching my stomach. The twins immediately kicked against his palm. His expression cracked. These children deserve better than what I gave you. Better than a coward for a father. You don't know they're yours. Part of me hopes they are. Part of me hopes they're not, because I don't deserve them. His thoughts were raw. But either way, I'm not walking away again. Not from him, not from them. The yacht hit a wave. I stumbled. Daehyun caught me, his arms solid and warm. For just a second, I let myself lean into him. Just a second. Then I pulled away. Don't make promises you can't keep, I said. I won't. And don't think one dramatic yacht rescue makes up for the altar. I don't. Good. I wrapped my arms around myself. Because I'm still angry, still hurt, and I don't trust you. You shouldn't. His voice was quiet. But maybe eventually you could. The twins kicked again, harder. My telepathy suddenly flared, catching something from the mainland. Minho's thoughts, distant but clear. Follow that yacht. I don't care about territorial waters. I want that Omega and those children. Now. Daehyun, I said. We have a problem. What now? Minho's following us, and he's not alone. On the horizon behind us, lights appeared. Fast-moving vessels, military grade. Daehyun pulled out his phone and made a call. Captain, how fast can this yacht go? A pause. Then faster. We've got company and they're not friendly. He hung up and looked at me. Can you swim? I'm pregnant with twins and we're in the middle of the ocean. So no, not really. Fair point. His thoughts raced through contingency plans. None of them good. Hold on. This is about to get rough. The yacht's engines roared. We surged forward, cutting through the waves with desperate speed. Behind us, Minho's vessels gained ground. The twins kicked frantically, like they could sense the danger. And somewhere in Seoul, I felt Yejun's thoughts sharpen with decision. I'm coming. Minho's going to kill him. I have to stop this. 3 Alpha Kings, 1 Omega, 2 unborn children, and an ocean that suddenly felt way too small. The ocean spray hit my face like tiny knives. I gripped the yacht's railing so hard my knuckles went white. Behind us, Minho's vessels were gaining. 3 of them now, cutting through the water with military precision. Daehyun stood beside me, his phone pressed to his ear, barking orders in Korean too fast for me to follow. His thoughts were louder. Can't outrun them? Need a distraction? Need backup? Need a miracle? We're not going to make it to Jeju, I said. I know. So what's the plan? Working on it. He ended the call and turned to me. There's a small island, 10 minutes south, uninhabited, rocky. If we can reach it before they catch us, we can hide until what? They leave. Minho's not going to just give up and go home. No, but Yejun might help. I stared at him. Yejun, the other king who rejected me. That Yejun. He's different. He wanted to say yes at the altar. I saw it in his face. Daehyun's thoughts confirmed it. Yejun's always been the conscience Minho and I don't have. Great. So we're betting my life and the twins' lives on your hunch about Yejun's moral compass. Very reassuring. A spotlight suddenly blazed across the water, pinning our yacht like a trapped animal. Minho's voice boomed through a speaker. Cut your engines, Daehyun. This doesn't have to get ugly. Too late for that, I muttered. Daehyun grabbed my hand. Trust me, please. I really don't. I know, but do it anyway. The yacht lurched suddenly, changing course so sharply I nearly fell. Daehyun caught me, his arm around my waist, holding me steady as we raced toward the dark shape of an island rising from the water. Minho's vessels followed, closing the distance. My telepathy pushed out, searching for Yejun. I found him immediately, his thoughts burning bright with urgency. Helicopter's too slow. He's going to get there first. Going to take Jiwoo and the children, and I can't. Yejun's in a helicopter, I told Daehyun. He's trying to reach us, but Minho's faster. Of course he is. The island was close now. Jagged rocks. No dock. No easy landing. Tell me we're not crashing into those rocks, I said. We're not crashing. Daehyun's grip on me tightened. We're making a tactical landing. That's literally the same thing. The yacht hit the shallows with a grinding shriek of metal on stone. I was thrown forward. Daehyun's body shielded mine, taking the impact as we both went down hard. For a second, I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Just pain and the smell of alpha and ocean salt. Then the twins kicked. Hard, angry. We're okay, I thought at them. We're okay. Stay with me. Jiwoo. Daehyun's voice was rough. Are you hurt? Define hurt. He pulled back enough to look at me, his hands checking for injuries. The babies are fine. Pissed off, but fine. Relief flooded his thoughts. Thank the goddess. If I'd hurt them, if I'd hurt him. The yacht's engines died. Around us, Minho's vessels were pulling up, blocking any escape by water. Daehyun helped me stand. The island. We run for cover. I'm pregnant, with twins. Running is not my strong suit right now. Then I'll carry you. That's very romantic, and also completely impractical. He scooped me up like I weighed nothing, started moving toward the rocks. This is ridiculous, I said, clinging to his neck as he climbed. Put me down. No, I can walk. Not fast enough. Behind us, I heard boots hitting the yacht's deck. Minho's guards, armed, trained, very motivated to catch us. Daehyun moved with surprising speed, navigating the rocky terrain like he'd done this before. His thoughts were focused, determined. Keep him safe. Nothing else matters. Keep him safe. We crested a ridge and ducked behind a formation of rocks just as spotlights swept across where we'd been seconds before. I pressed my hand to my chest, trying to catch my breath. The twins were doing somersaults. My telepathy was screaming with proximity alerts. Minho was close, very close. I can smell you, Daehyun. Minho's voice echoed across the rocks. And I can smell him. The Omega. My Omega. Not yours, Daehyun muttered. Never was, I added. Minho's thoughts crashed into mine, sharp and cold. He's mine. The children are mine. Everything that should have been mine at that altar. I was a fool to reject him, but I'll fix it. Take him back. Keep him. Make him understand he belongs to me. He's completely delusional, I whispered to Daehyun. Minho's always been possessive, just usually about territory, not people. How comforting. Footsteps crunched on stone, getting closer. Daehyun's hand moved to the small knife at his belt. Not enough to fight off armed guards, but something. Then I felt it. A shift in the air. A new presence. Found them. Thank the goddess. I'm not too late. Yejun. A helicopter appeared over the ridge, spotlight blazing. It descended fast, landing on a flat section of rock 50 feet away. Yejun jumped out before it fully touched down. He looked different than I remembered. Younger, less polished. His dark hair was a mess. His formal robes replaced with practical clothes. And his eyes, when they found mine, held something I hadn't expected. Desperation. Jiwoo. He started toward us. Are you? Stay back, Daehyun warned, positioning himself between us. I'm not here to hurt him. Yejun's thoughts were painfully sincere. Never wanted to hurt him, just wanted to be brave enough to choose him. Then why are you here? To stop Minho from doing something we'll all regret. Yejun's gaze shifted past us. He's not thinking clearly. He's obsessed with the idea that the children will legitimize his rule, make him stronger than the rest of us. The children aren't political tools, I said, my voice harder than intended. I know. Yejun met my eyes. I know, and I'm sorry. For everything. For the altar. For not being strong enough to stand up for you. For all of it. Minho's voice cut through the moment. How touching. A reunion. He emerged from the rocks, flanked by 6 guards. His silver eyes swept over the scene. Daehyun protecting me. Yejun standing uncertain. Me, pregnant and cornered. Stand down, both of you, Minho commanded. The Omega comes with me. No, Daehyun and Yejun said in unison. Minho's expression went cold. That wasn't a request. And this isn't your territory, Yejun said. We're in international waters. You have no authority here. I have the authority of being right. Minho's thoughts were a storm of need and anger, and something that looked like fear. If I don't claim him now, I'll lose everything. The children, the power, the future I was promised. You're afraid, I said suddenly. All 3 of them looked at me. You're absolutely terrified. Not of losing power, of being alone. Minho's jaw clenched. You don't know what you're talking about. I can hear your thoughts, every single one. You felt the bond at the altar just like Daehyun did, just like Yejun did, and it scared you so badly you destroyed it rather than admit you wanted something you couldn't control. The twins kicked. I pressed my hand to my stomach, wincing. All 3 alphas reacted immediately, stepped forward, their instincts overriding politics. Don't, I said. Don't come closer, any of you. They froze. You all rejected me, I continued, my voice shaking. Publicly, brutally. You didn't just break the bond, you shattered me. And now you want to fight over the pieces like I'm some prize to be won? Jiwoo, Daehyun started. I'm not finished. I looked at each of them in turn. I'm carrying children that might belong to any of you. Or all of you. I don't know. But here's what I do know. They're mine first, mine. And I will raise them far away from kings and politics and alphas who can't decide if they want me or just want to own me. Silence fell across the rocks. Then Yejun spoke. You're right. Minho turned on him. What? He's right. We destroyed something precious because we were afraid. And now we're making it worse by fighting over him like he's property. Yejun's thoughts were clear, resolved. I don't deserve him. None of us do. But maybe we can try to deserve his children. What are you suggesting? Daehyun asked. Supervised visitation, when the children are born. If Jiwoo allows it. Yejun looked at me. We support you financially, protect you from anyone who'd use the children against you. But we don't demand anything. We earn the right to be in their lives. That's insane, Minho said. Those children are his, Yejun interrupted. They're his. We gave up our claim when we rejected him. Minho's thoughts warred with each other. Pride versus loneliness. Power versus connection. The twins kicked again, harder, like they were trying to tell me something. I can't think about this right now, I said. I'm exhausted, pregnant, being hunted, and standing on a rock in the middle of the ocean, having a custody negotiation with 3 alpha kings. This is not how I pictured my life going. What do you need? Daehyun asked. Space, time, a place to have these babies without worrying about kingdoms and politics, and which one of you gets to claim them. Jeju House, Daehyun said immediately. It's yours, for as long as you need. And we stay away, Yejun added, until you're ready. All eyes turned to Minho. He stood there, jaw tight, thoughts screaming. Let him go. Let him go and lose everything. Or fight and prove I'm the monster he thinks I am. Finally he spoke. Fine. Fine, I repeated. You want space, you'll have it. But when those children are born, we will know. And we will have a place in their lives, even if we don't have a place in yours. It wasn't forgiveness, wasn't redemption. But it was a start. The Jeju house was exactly what Daehyun had promised. Isolated, beautiful, safe. I stood on the deck overlooking the ocean, my hand resting on my swollen belly. 3 months had passed since the island confrontation. 3 months of peace, of healing, of learning to breathe without constantly looking over my shoulder. The twins were due any day now. My telepathy had grown quieter as the pregnancy progressed, like the babies were absorbing some of the psychic energy. I could still hear thoughts when I focused, but the constant background noise had faded to a gentle hum. It was almost peaceful. Almost. You're thinking too loud again, I said without turning around. Daehyun emerged onto the deck carrying tea. He'd stayed, not in the house, but close. A small cottage down the beach. Close enough to help if I needed it. Far enough to give me space. Can't help it around you. He set the cup on the railing beside me. The twins active today? They're plotting world domination. I can feel it. He smiled. That happened more now. Actual smiles. Real ones. Over the past 3 months, something had shifted between us. Not forgiveness, not exactly, but something softer, less jagged. He brought me food. I let him stay for dinner sometimes. We talked about safe things, the weather, books, anything except the altar or the bond or what happened next. Yejun sent another package, Daehyun said. Baby clothes, handmade. He's apparently taken up knitting. A king who knits. That's adorable and also deeply weird. He's trying. I know. Yejun had kept his distance like he'd promised, but gifts arrived weekly. Thoughtful things. Useful things. Each one accompanied by a note apologizing for the altar. For not being braver. For failing me when it mattered. I kept the gifts but burned the notes. Forgiveness wasn't something I was ready to give yet. And Minho, I asked, even though I wasn't sure I wanted to know. Daehyun's expression darkened. Still in Seoul. Still demanding updates. Still convinced the children are his. He never even asked if I was okay. No, he didn't. That hurt more than it should have. A sharp pain suddenly lanced through my belly. I gasped, gripping the railing. Daehyun was beside me instantly. Jiwoo. I'm fine. Just a contraction. They've been happening all day. All day? And you didn't tell me? They're practice contractions. Braxton Hicks. Perfectly normal. Another one hit, harder. Okay, maybe not perfectly normal. We're going to the hospital. It's probably false labor. The midwife said first-time mothers often... My water broke. We both stared down at the puddle on the deck. That's not false labor, Daehyun said. No, that's definitely real labor. The pain came in waves now. Stronger. Faster. Car. Now. Daehyun was already moving, his phone out, calling the midwife. I tried to walk, made it 3 steps before another contraction doubled me over. Daehyun caught me, his arm around my waist. I've got you. This is really bad timing. Babies don't care about timing. We made it to the car. Barely. Daehyun drove with one hand, the other holding mine as I breathed through contractions that were coming way too fast. My telepathy flared suddenly, picking up thoughts from far away. Yejun, in a helicopter, racing toward Jeju. He's in labor. I felt it through the bond echo. Have to get there. Have to... Yejun's coming, I gasped between contractions. How do you... Daehyun stopped himself. Right, telepathy. He felt it, through whatever's left of the bond. Another wave of pain, I screamed. Almost there, Daehyun said, his voice tight. Just hold on. The hospital was small but clean. The midwife met us at the entrance, took one look at me and started barking orders. They got me into a delivery room. Monitors, IV, hands everywhere. Twins are in position, the midwife said. But they're early. We need to move fast. How early? Daehyun demanded. 4 weeks. It's not ideal, but they should be fine. Strong heartbeats. Good position. Should be fine. Not will be. Should be. The twins kicked frantically, like they were trying to communicate something I couldn't understand. Another contraction hit. This one felt different. Deeper. Like my body was tearing apart from the inside. I can't do this, I said. I can't. You can. Daehyun's hand gripped mine. You survived the frozen wastes. You survived 3 kings. You can survive this. That's different. How? Those things were trying to kill me. This is... Pain cut off my words. The midwife checked the monitors. First twin is crowning. Jiwoo on... The next contraction. I need you to push. I pushed, screamed, pushed again. And then I heard it. A cry. Thin and furious and absolutely perfect. It's a boy, the midwife said, holding up a tiny, wriggling bundle. My son, the first twin. They placed him on my chest for just a second. Wet. Warm. His eyes squeezed shut against the light. Dark hair plastered to his small head. Han Seojun, I whispered. Your name is Seojun. Then they took him to clean him, check his vitals, make sure he was okay. Second twin, the midwife said. Here we go again. The second birth was faster, harder. I thought I might die. But then another cry filled the room, higher, more insistent. Another boy, the midwife announced. Smaller, but strong lungs. They placed him beside his brother on my chest. Han Johan, I said through tears. You're Johan. The twins, my twins, finally here, finally real. Daehyun stood beside the bed, staring at them with an expression I couldn't read. His thoughts were a mess of emotion. They're perfect, absolutely perfect. Are they mine? Please let them be mine. But even if they're not, do you want to hold them? I asked. He looked at me shocked. Are you sure? One of them might be yours. You should meet them. With shaking hands, he accepted Seojin, held him like he might break. The baby's eyes opened. Silver, bright, unmistakable. Daehyun's breath caught. Alpha eyes, the midwife said. Both of them. Strong bloodline. But whose? The door burst open. Yejun stood there, disheveled and breathing hard. I came as fast as I could. Are they? He stopped, seeing the twins. His expression crumpled. Oh, you can come closer, I said. You should meet them. Yejun approached slowly, like he was approaching something sacred. He looked at Seojin in Daehyun's arms, at Johan against my chest. They're beautiful, he whispered. Another presence pushed against my telepathy. Cold, familiar. Minho. Outside the hospital, his thoughts calculating. Two boys, alpha eyes, one of them is mine. Has to be. I'll know when I see them. I'll know. He's here, I said. Minho, he's coming. Daehyun's jaw tightened. I'll handle him. No. I adjusted Johan in my arms. Let him come. Let him see what he gave up. Footsteps in the corridor. Fast. Purposeful. The door opened again. Minho stood there. Perfect. Controlled. His silver eyes scanning the room until they landed on the twins. Everything stopped. His thoughts exploded. Mine. They're mine. I can feel it. My blood. My children. My... Seojin turned his head toward Minho's voice and smiled. A tiny, perfect smile. Minho's composure shattered. His hand reached out, trembling. Can I? His voice cracked. Can I hold him? I looked at Daehyun, at Yejun, at Minho. 3 kings, 3 potential fathers. 2 children who would grow up loved, protected, and free. Yes, I said finally. You can hold him. Daehyun carefully passed Seojin to Minho. The moment the baby settled in his arms, something in Minho's expression shifted, softened. Hello, he whispered. Hello, little one. My telepathy caught fragments of his thoughts. Mine, not mine. Doesn't matter. He's perfect. The 4 of us stood there, 3 broken kings and 1 exhausted Omega, 2 newborn twins between us. No one knew which king had fathered which child. Maybe we'd never know. Maybe it didn't matter. What mattered was this moment, this fragile piece. Johan stirred against my chest. I looked down at him. His eyes opened fully for the first time. Not silver, gold, pure, shining gold. The color of Omega eyes touched by psychic gifts. The color of my eyes when I used my telepathy. Impossible. Alpha fathers couldn't produce Omega children. Unless... My blood ran cold as understanding crashed over me. The royal bloodline suppression, the hidden genetics, the reason someone had tried to erase me. I wasn't just royal Omega. I was something rarer, something dangerous, something that could pass gifts to children regardless of the father's genetics. And Johan, staring up at me with those impossible gold eyes, proved it. The twins weren't just dynasty changers, they were evolution. Minho's thoughts sharpened, noticing Johan's eyes. Gold. Omega gold. How is that? Jiwoo. Daehyun's voice was tight. His eyes. The room went silent. All 3 kings stared at Johan, at the impossible, at the future none of them had planned for. I held my son closer, my telepathy instinctively reaching out to his tiny mind. And for the first time, I heard another telepath. Mama. The word echoed in my head. Not spoken. Thought. Johann was telepathic. At barely 10 minutes old, my son was already speaking to me mind to mind. I looked up at the three kings, at Minho's shock, at Daehyun's wonder, at Yejun's quiet acceptance. We need to talk, I said. But before anyone could respond, Johann's thoughts pushed into all our minds simultaneously. Not just mine. All of us. Home. One word. Broadcast to every alpha in the room. My infant son had just announced his presence to three kings, and everything changed. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as can ever imagine. So do check it out. If that ending wrecked you, hit subscribe. The next chapter drops soon.